Hey, beautiful people. My name is Alexa. I'm checking in from Miami, Florida. And I just wanted to film this today outside because I just wanted you guys to feel the warmth and the sunshine no matter where you are in the world. I know that I should be filming this inside because there's literally a plane flying by every 5 seconds, but bear with me. I hope the sound is good. I hope we can connect. Um, I have posted on YouTube on and off for the past few years, and this is my first real, authentic YouTube post. I had an amazing talk with a friend last night who's low-key an angel, actually very high-key an angel. And we talked about a lot of things, but we got into YouTube, and she does YouTube as well. Very inspirational. I'll drop her handle as well at some point, but I just want to reintroduce myself in a different way because I'm a girl with a lot of big dreams, and I feel like every time I hop on YouTube, I am just doing the most. And, I always go back to my music because singing is one of my biggest dreams. But I realized that in order for me to connect with anyone, anywhere, we need to get to know each other a little bit. So, without further ado, I definitely want to talk about today my journey from the corporate world into basically jumping off a bridge and changing everything in my life. Um, I have lived many lives and done many things. And, one thing that I'm super grateful for is I've always been able to carry myself, in the business world when I need to, but it's not me. And when I say it's not me, that's not to say that there aren't other dreams where I can step into a business role and, do what I have to do to make those dreams come true. And, you can trust yourself most when it comes to managing certain things. So I will say that I can do it if I need to, as can you, as can any of us. We can do anything we set our minds to. But my jump from the corporate world into following and chasing my dreams truly, truly, truly changed my life. And I wish that for anyone that wants it. I wish that for anyone that has ever thought about it, dreamed of it, hoped for it. There are so many different things I can say about this path, but I'll start from the beginning a little bit. So I grew up in Philly. I'm from Philly. Actually from a little town outside of Philly called Norristown. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but it's just easier to say Philly. So Philly raised me for sure. Everything I've ever done culture-wise and, music-wise, fashion-wise, friends-wise, fun-wise, it's all in Philly. The city of Philly is a very special place. No matter where you go in the world, no matter where I've traveled in the world, the things that I've done, the places that I've gone, which there's a lot to do. I've not done that much. I've done a few things. I always admire and love and miss the energy where I'm from, and that's something I'll always be grateful for. Okay, let's start from the beginning before I get to rambling, because I hope that one thing I can promise you guys is this is just the beginning. There will be so much. I'll continue to log on and tell my story and hope that it reaches someone, anywhere, somewhere that needs it, inspires whoever may need, just a little bit of clarification or affirmations or affirmational speaking to remind you that you can do it and be anything and do anything. So let's start from the beginning. Rewind. So I went to college at Temple University. Very much a Philly girl. I had no idea what to major in, so like many other humans that are jumping into college with no clue what they're doing, I majored in something that was larger. So between business and communications, I chose communications because for me, I was enticed by, journalism and writing, PR, and all the magic that comes along with that. I wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to take that. Ironically, I do feel like in the space that I am as a human being today, I do use my communications background, but naturally, right? I love talking to people, connecting with people. I love to write. I've always loved to write. That's a part of me, right? But I had no idea what I was doing with it back then. People used to ask me, do I want to be a newscaster and things like that. I'm like, no, girl, I have no idea. So since it wasn't business for me, it was communications. Went to Temple. I spent a lot of time in college, y'all. More time than I should have, for sure. I think I spent like 5 years in college and no clue why. I elongated some things. I started in community college, actually at Montgomery County Community College. And then, I realized that that wasn't for me. Like, I realized that I knew, actually, when I was in community college, walking around in circles, I'm gonna just wait for the plane flight, y'all. There's always a flight in Miami, always, at all times. And I try to, as much as the noise just gets overwhelming sometimes, and it's just in such abundance that it's constant, I try to always let it remind me that, I'll be traveling again soon, and, wish whoever's flying above me a healthy, safe flight, smooth landing, all the things. So anyway, we're back. So in community college, I should have taken the signs. One thing I can say, if you are indecisive and you're in college or you're moving into college, one thing I will say for you is you can do it without college if you have a specific dream and you're ready to chase it. I'm not here to tell you don't go to school. I'm not here to tell you that I'm right or I'm wrong or I know everything. What I am here to tell you is that everyone has their own path and you have to follow what inspires you, what makes you happy, what makes your heart feel whole. So in community college, I was walking around in circles and I knew it wasn't for me, but I still had no idea which way I was going. So I still dabble with music a little bit in college, and then I moved to Temple when I did the associates program. So I was automatically accepted. And that's why I spent a little bit more time at Temple kind of finding myself, because I didn't spend the full 4 years there. But I loved going to school in the city. I loved my journalism classes, kind of like I knew I would. Like, I had this one amazing professor. I have to find his name for y'all, but he ran up and down the aisles and got everyone involved and was talking about, back then, I had no idea who Anderson Cooper was, and journalism in general, I was learning so much about. And so I loved different spurts of college, but I knew that it wasn't going to take me to my larger dreams, which are just so beyond college and where I was in that space. If you're going to school to be like a doctor or a dentist, those things are way more particular. You have to go through certain waves to get into the space that you want to be and earn what you want to earn. So I get that, but I wasn't that. That wasn't me. I'm a creative at heart. I'm an artist at heart. I'm a singer. I'm a creator. I'm a fashion designer. I'm a dancer. I'm a lover. I'm so many things. I love travel. Okay, moving on from college, I jumped into a retail job. I ended up at Nordstrom, which was also an amazing part of my journey that I'm forever grateful for. I will always love Nordstrom. I learned so much at Nordstrom about business and the way to sustain a business that cares about its customers. Nordstrom will be forever special to me in my heart. I learned about the Nordstrom brothers, how they started the business, how important it was for them to basically grow and pay attention to what was working and what wasn't, what people wanted, what made people happy. Their return policy that they're famous for, has gained them a loyal shopping following that is untouchable when it comes to other retail outlets. So working for a luxury space like Nordstrom definitely shaped me in a beautiful way when it comes to sales. And I think that, for anyone that has been in sales or anyone that's going into sales, one thing you learn about sales in the long run is that you can truly sell anything to anyone, because as human beings, we don't really know what we want. We are kind of coerced into decisions in both a really refreshing way, learning from others, and also, we find things that we need along the way that otherwise we wouldn't have found if it wasn't maybe sold to us or explained to us in the ways that really good salespeople can. So my time at Nordstrom was amazing. I considered being a buyer and just so many things. And I was like, girl, you don't want to be a buyer. You want to be the person that people are styling. Like, in my heart and in my soul, I always wanted to be something larger. I always knew that I was, when I say a star, I don't mean it in an arrogant way. I say it because I want to tell stories with my music and with, my dreams of acting one day and things like that. So when you have a larger purpose, you just think to yourself, okay, well, I don't really want to style people. I just want to be the one that's being styled. So, my growth at Nordstrom, I knew was coming to a halt at a certain point. And I had a really good friend there. Shout out to Michelle. So she actually was moving on to a real estate job. And she came to a few of us that had more like the personality hire energy at Nordstrom. We were killing it there. We made a lot in sales. We learned a lot. We made a lot of really good friends through our customers that we had gained and our clientele that we had built from learning so much from Nordstrom and being something that is more of a personality. The only way that you can sell something in life is to sell you first. You have to connect with people or you can't sell a thing. It doesn't matter what you're selling. So learned all of that from Nordstrom, and that's why she was like, look, you'll be perfect for this real estate job. This company is amazing. They are changing the game. They are phenomenal. You can move in, you can get a discount on a luxury apartment. You can sell these beautiful luxury rental units all over Philadelphia and learn so much while doing it. Like, just come check it out. So I actually went to go interview with that company, and it's so ironic, guys, because I just never saw myself in real estate until jumping into that gig. So at some point, I quit Nordstrom after a few years there and jumped into real estate with this company, who I'm not going to name yet. Maybe I'll circle back. If this is something you're interested in, as I talk about this company, I'll definitely circle back into mentioning who they are. But I just want to say that it was one of the best decisions I had ever made. It turned me into not only the businesswoman that I am today, just naturally, even without wanting to necessarily be in business, it's something that shaped me into being a really powerful personality in knowing my magic. Because, okay, so then I moved to Philly. I actually was living in East Falls at the time. So anyone that's from Philly, you know Mount Airy, East Falls, that whole area. It's very close to like Manayunk, if you've ever heard of that. It's an amazing area because you're really, really close to everything, but you're not like in the city. You're just outside. I would say like close enough to the madness, but not actually in it. So I was living in East Falls for a little while, and I loved it there. I loved it there. Like there was a trail nearby in East Falls that you can run or jog or walk, and it's along the Schuylkill River, which is an amazing, beautiful view if you take it all the way to the art museum. So a lot of people are often getting active out there, working out, you know, biking, roller skating, rollerblading, all the things, right? Walking their dogs. And so I started, you know, becoming a city girl, and I loved everything about that. Like I knew that I was meant to be a city girl. Norristown is kind of like a teeny tiny version of Philly, like where I was born and raised and where I'm from, but Norristown High is a whole nother situation. We could talk about that another day if it's something that I dive deeper into, but I just want to say and touch on really quickly that my high school was not your average. My high school was something that, it was not like an easy experience. It was a place where I felt like I had to prove myself, that I was tougher than I necessarily needed to be. A lot of people in Norristown, you know, we've been through some shit. We have a lot with us. Most people growing up in Norristown didn't have an easy path, you know. There's a lot of balance in Norristown. A lot of Italians, which is amazing. Like my grade school, I grew up Italian, kindergarten through 8th. I went to an Italian grade school. Let me not get too far off path here, but where I came from, I was just ready for the next step because, you know, it was a high school where, you know, I wasn't the best version of me necessarily. Like I always grew up kind of tough because my parents are really dope people. They're both badasses as well. My dad is like a rock star that has his own music studio. My mom, you know, used to twirl batons with fire and work this roller skating job, and she won the best legs contest, and she's always been a badass, and she took a different path, and now she works at a salon, and she changes lives there with her personality. You know, like my parents have been, you know, rocks in my life as far as being not your average. And so when I started getting a taste of city life, I loved it, okay? I did amazing in real estate. It took me to a place where I realized that, like, okay, I can make a lot of money just being me, selling things that I believe in. I can only sell something that I stand behind. I fell in love with this company because they do things differently. Like everything they did, you know, it was like quartz countertops and hardwood floors and stainless steel appliances and washer dryer in every unit. It wasn't like your average, like rinky-dink little apartment. Their amenities were always top-notch, always pools and hot tubs and top-notch gyms and saunas and just every little extra thing you can offer people when it comes to amenities, they did it. So, made really good money in real estate, was very proud of myself, ended up growing with this company, even to the point where at some point, you know, I got a little too spicy and big for my britches. I was a little too outspoken, and I became like this whistleblower of things that were so unnecessary where I didn't really agree with. I was kind of like that person in sales where my true cancer side was showing. Like, I just wanted people to win. I always wanted people to, even if they didn't have perfect credit or income, I always wanted them to get approved. I always wanted them to get the apartment. I always wanted to give them the opportunity to have a better life. And so that's just not always the case when it comes to business. Like, business is business, personal is personal. And it was always hard for me to understand that. So in meetings, I'd just be saying really out of pocket shit, and I would just be like a little too spicy, and I would just be like the people's person, and, you know, not... If I could do it differently, I would go back now and do it more proactively in the sense of just being an example instead of just being so outspoken and talking down on processes that were the reason this company was successful, because they stood their ground in who they were and who they allowed into their buildings and who to get approved and things like that. So anyway, I learned a lot at this company. I made a lot of money. I ended up moving into an even bougier building than my first one. When I say I had the most beautiful apartment, like inside and out, it was my dream. Like, beautiful, like this building is well known on City Ave. Penthouses, beautiful walk-in closets, beautiful finishes, top-notch everything. Amenities out the wazoo, like 3 beautiful infinity pools, 2 hot tubs, 3 different style gyms, classes that came included with your lease there. You could take classes any time of morning, day, and night. Amazing fitness classes, different things they offered, yoga. I mean, it was very special, to say the least. And the events they threw were always top notch. Like, they kept people social, kept people involved with the building. So it was really hard for me to leave that. Very, very hard for me to leave that. But I actually never touched on this. So when I was saying that I was a little too spicy in the meetings, I actually got fired from this company at a certain point. And then I went off, lived my life in my 20s and started to figure things out and spread my wings a little bit and dabbled. And then there was a point in time where I decided, like, I've made such good money there that I just wanted to go back. Like, I was like, you know, I haven't made that sort of money since I left this company, and I also haven't felt like myself since I left. So I want to go back. So just goes to show that anything you set your mind to, you can, because even though they fired me in the past, I grew a little bit, and I think it was like 2 years later that I went back, and I was like, I would love to work for you guys again. And they were like, come on back, girl. We know the magic you're capable of. Let's do it again. So very, very grateful for that opportunity to be able to go back. I love them with my heart and soul. I still keep in touch with that company. I'm a cry. I'm so emotional, and it's the full moon tonight, and I'm a Cancer. There's a lot to talk about here, guys. But so I went back to that company, and basically, in a sense of knowing who I was over time, I started to outgrow real estate. It wasn't necessarily even the space that I was in. I loved my apartment. I loved that building. I loved the location. I loved running to the art museum every day. I loved coming home and having a long day and being able to hit a fitness class and then hop in the sauna and then hop in the hot tub. I loved going in the hot tub on snowy days. I loved being spoiled and living this bougie, beautiful, luxury apartment life. I loved it. I loved it. It was really, really hard for me to leave, but there came a point where I just knew that my dreams weren't coming true outside of real estate, and I was tired, y'all. I was not myself anymore. Like, I always had 2 phones like this, and I was glued to a laptop, and I just didn't love who I was. Like, I would speak to my family, and I wasn't able to pour into them or be a light, at that point in time, because I was just not truly happy. And I'll never forget the day that everything changed. It was crazy. It was like this mental shift that was like this. I had a friend that is still part of my tribe now. She actually lives out here in Miami. Another plane. Let us pray for all the beautiful people on board on that plane right now. May they have a safe flight. May all of their dreams come true. May they land safely to where they are going. Sending all the love and all the prayers for a safe flight. Blessings, y'all. Okay. Plane has passed. Okay, so this is where it gets fun. I really hope we made it up until this point, y'all, because I'm sorry. It's just I have so much to say, and I feel like the backdrop is important because I feel like we all have a similar past and we don't really know who we are. And so I felt like I wanted to give you a little background of who I was and where I came from and what I've been through. So I hope that you're still here. If you're still here, I love you for being here. Thank you for watching. Maybe I'll make this 2 videos. Who knows? Since this is my first one really talking to you guys rather than just logging on YouTube and singing as if you already know me, I hope that you feel me. That is my intent with this long video. So, okay, here's where it gets exciting. So I have a friend, and she became part of my tribe in such a major, major, major way. And it was a beautiful thing. She was able to tell me, in a sense of knowing that I was unhappy, hearing me complain about this numerous times, and she and I have done some amazing things in Philly together. Like, she started her own brand that was like a wellness brand and lifting people up. And so we were doing workouts at the art museum, and it was cool. We were building a tribe and kind of like lifting people up energy-wise, and I feel like changing lives, day by day, in a sense of like even our own inner circle. It would be like our best friends that came. We would do like a workout at the art museum, and then we would do a guided meditation after with one of our other close friends that, she's certified in Reiki, and she does a lot of things, and she is a lot of things. So with that being said, we became this tribe, and this friend of mine, she was there from beginning to end when I started my business, and when the day that I quit my job, because she was actually the person that encouraged me to do so. And the reason that I was ready to do it is because I already knew. I already knew that I was unhappy. I already knew that I was ready for a change. There comes this point in your life where you just know, like, you want more, you're ready for more, and you just do that shit. So I was in the break room, and, again, I'm the most emotional. Like, I cry over everything. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm overwhelmed. but I wouldn't have it any other way. And it took me a while to love myself that way. So I was in the break room, and y'all, I called her, and I was just telling her how over it I was, and that I was ready for another step, and I just wasn't sure what that step was. And I had just started taking steps to start my own fashion brand, so my own clothing brand, in the sense of finding materials. I had started sketching some designs that were important to me. This is while I'm still living in my luxury apartment, working for this real estate company that takes really good care of me. I get a discount on the place where I live. I'm making really good commissions on this real estate that I'm selling. I have the opportunity to make literally commissions out of this world. The cool thing about that was similar to the real estate company that I work for is very much like Nordstrom. Like, I love the sense of commission because your paycheck could be whatever you wanted it to be. So it's very hard to leave a place like that because the hope is always just like, I know I'm gonna make more, I'm gonna keep making more, I'm gonna keep getting better. But this day that I was crying to her, she's like, Alexa, I'm just sick of it. Like, I don't wanna hear you crying anymore because I know what you're capable of. She's like, I know that you're magic. I know your strength. I know your power. You know your power. Maybe you don't have it all figured out right now. Maybe you don't have millions of dollars saved up, and maybe you don't have a huge bank account, but I promise you right now, if you quit that job that's making you unhappy, everything is gonna change. Why don't you just quit? And I was like, really? Like, quit my job? Like, girl, I don't even have, like, my savings was not popping at that time. Okay, y'all, it just wasn't. And because I was like comfortable, right? So it's not that I was spending a lot of money, just like I had expensive bills because, I drove a car that I loved and had an apartment that I loved, and I did other things, and I started, buying things to start this clothing brand, and I'm just like, I was getting by. I wasn't like, I had the opportunity to always make more, and so it's not like I was balling, but I was just ready, and I needed a change. I needed her to say that in order for me to make that change. So I stopped crying, I cleaned up my tears, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking quit this job. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow. I think I quit the next day. I think I quit, if it wasn't the next day, it was that week for sure. I just gathered my courage, and I wrote a letter to my immediate boss, who got it to the big bosses, and I just was like, look, I'm ready to go. And the biggest blessing that I actually want to cry about right now is that we grew to love each other so much in a way that they let me quit on my own terms. Like, that still blows my mind to this day because it was so almost out of pocket of me. I have this bossy nature where it's not even bossy. It's like, when you know your power, you know your power. When you know that you have built something special, you feel like you get to a sense where you can ask for certain things, and I had asked them for extra time. Even after I quit, I was like, okay, I quit, but can I leave in 2 weeks? Or actually, I'm kidding. Can I leave at the end of the month because I just want a little more time to make a little bit more, and this will be better timing for me. And they were like, yes, stay, make money, make us money, make you money, like, just stay. Let me stay in the apartment also. Like, at a certain point, of course, my discount had to end, but they let me stay in that apartment, which was amazing. And y'all, when you jump off the cliff, it doesn't matter how much money you have at that time. It doesn't matter if you're ready. The biggest thing that I know that I have learned in this life is that you're not ever going to be ready. Like, you're not, it's just not the way it works. It doesn't matter what you're trying to accomplish in life. It doesn't matter how much growth you've had, how much money you have. You're never truly ready for a step that you're about to take. It's just that you have to take it, because then things start to fall into place. Like, once you start taking those risks, you realize that, you ready yourself as time goes by. It just, you step into that role, and the universe listens, and the universe aids you in that. They provide you with different ways to say, hey, I can do it. I'm doing this for real. Like, it's happening. And I'm going to be this. And, you see different opportunities pop up that you didn't even think existed before. So, for example, to put this into, real life examples for you guys. So I was talking with someone while I was still working this job about a fashion show. He had called me and was like, yo, this is one of the biggest clubs in Philly. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Philly, but there's a club called Nodo. And still, to this day, it's one of the top clubs in Philly. And this had to be like 10 years ago when they were first coming to fruition. And they had just opened and launched, and they were having celebrities there, occasionally, and they were hosting a lot of the big names in music and doing big appearances. And it felt like something really big to do a fashion show there. So I remember one of the top promoters in Philly, he called me, and we became good friends, and we ended up going into business together later. That's a whole nother story, but he's an amazing guy. Shout out to Timmy. I love you. I always will. We've been through a lot. But he called me, and he had seen some of my designs and some of the events that I began to throw with close friends of mine that would be kind enough to model for me. Because one thing I will say about Philly, my crew is so beautiful. They still are. I love these girls. I love these people that I built with in Philly. I love these people that were my friends that modeled for me or were my models that became my close friends. Like, there's so much that happened in Philly because people in Philly are just so real. They're just so different. We just appreciate shit more because a lot of us come from nothing. And there's so much culture in Philly that we're just different. We do everything with a little bit of spice and a little more love and a little more swag. Good music, good food, good people, everything. So this is when the magic started to really happen. So I remember when I was still working at this job, I started I remember I was just not paying as much attention to sales and the apartments and closing the deals. I was on the phone talking about this fashion show, and I was like, I got my fabric, my samples aren't ready, I got my sketches. It's been really hard to find, a manufacturer to make my shit in bulk, and I'm not there yet. And he's like, listen, for the fashion show, all you need is to find models to model what you have now. He's like, because I see what you're doing. Like, I would throw events in Philly or go to places in Philly with a group of my really beautiful people and have them wear my designs, and I'd be wearing them. And it started out slow, but we got some traction because we're cool. Like, my people are so cool. They're the coolest people in the world. They're really beautiful, humble women that just like knew how to have a good time. So in that age and phase in your early 20s, mid 20s, when going out is like a thing, because I'm not that way anymore. I don't love to go out the way that I used to. I was very present on the scene. I was very much everywhere at all the events, whether it was like a fitness event or a wellness event, or it was like a club event or dancing, or going out, or getting bottles at the tables with my girls. Like, I was very present on that scene, and he knew that. So he was like, look, I know what you can do. I know what you're capable of. Let's do this show. Like, I know. So the brand that I was building was called Gold by Alexa. I think about it as like Michael by Michael Kors, but more so like I really just wanted something that I always was in love with, a movie called The Outsiders. So Stay Gold Baby Stay Gold has stuck with me my entire life. So it became for me something that was like Stay Gold Baby, and remembering to chase my dreams and remembering to remind people to chase their dreams. And that became a big part of my brand. And I love gold. Everything about me has always loved gold. I love gold jewelry. I've always worn gold jewelry. Just gold and the sense of, luxe and rich and abundance and warmth and just everything that is gold and powerful in the world has stuck with me over time. So Gold by Alexa was my brand, and he's like, I need you to sprinkle the magic. I need the gold. I need you at this show. So I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't have what I need right now, but I gave myself a 30-day window, y'all. A 30-day window. Another thing that I learned that I will say, write this down and make it fruition. If there's any goal that you're trying to accomplish, is give yourself a deadline. Give yourself a deadline with any goal or any dream that you have in life. I promise you, it will change everything. Like, you don't know your power until you put yourself to the test. The only way to put yourself to the test is discipline and holding yourself accountable and giving yourself a deadline, a date to accomplish something by. You will see your power in a different light in so many ways. This is when everything started happening. So I stopped working the job, and within that 30-day period, somehow finished my sketches, got my samples made in a much more expensive way than I could afford at that time. But I got a really big tax return that year. This is all around that time. So there were so many things happening. Even though I was making good money, I just didn't have all of the backing that I needed to really make this clothing brand come to life. So between the money that I was making and being on my way out from this job and not having a huge savings, the tax return, I used it to get my samples. I got these, pretty expensive samples done that I really couldn't afford at the time. I didn't care. I had like 10 to 12 sketches. I went to these beautiful places around Mount Airy, like old school fabric shops. I picked out every fabric, every button, every detail, every zipper. It was I could cry. I'm gonna cry. It was the most beautiful thing for me because I never knew I could do that. I didn't know I could do it until I did it. And when I did it, everything started to happen for me. Like, it was crazy. I pulled off this fashion show in 30 days that I would have thought in the past would have taken me at least a year. I did so much in these 30 days. Finding the fabric, organizing my models. A lot of them most of them were my friends. And then between me posting on Instagram and other places like that at the time, like, I was able to really grow in a sense of like adding a few additional people to my team that are still my friends to this day, that started as models for my brand and helping me bring my dreams to life because they saw the passion in my heart and in my designs and what I wanted to bring to life in the culture of Philly. And it was everything I incorporated with music. It just was all so beautiful, and it was all happening at once. So I stopped working this job. I was still living in this luxury apartment. Like, yo, how am I gonna afford this without my discount? And I made it work. I don't know how I did it, but I made it work. And the show was so amazing. I have never experienced something like that. In knowing that I could fly, in knowing and seeing people walk on the runway in my designs, like, I can't explain what that feels like. Like, I feel like I've always worked really hard for anything I've ever done in life. Nothing ever came easy to me. My family comes from nothing. I come from nothing. I was never given anything when it comes to money for college or a trust fund. And I'm not saying that people deserve that or that's the norm. I'm just saying that I've worked really hard for everything that I am, every dream that I've ever chased. And that was my first taste of knowing my power. And it's the most beautiful thing in the world. There's nothing like it, nothing. And so I made the jump, and I had no idea what I was going to do, but I stopped working for, this real estate. I had gone through, actually, when I had left that job, I had joined another real estate company, and, I had worked for some corporate companies that just sucked my soul. I mean, from the young age of, like, I think I worked since I was like, I'd definitely been working even a diner job since I was 14. I started working when I was 14, so throughout all of that time, I had done a lot of really random corporate shit, even before I was, in college, and a lot of jobs that made me miserable, like telemarketing and just crazy, really silly stuff that, in sales, like, will suck your soul if you let it. So jumping out of something that was stable for me into something that helped me make my dreams come true, it changed everything, y'all. Like, that first fashion show, there came many more after that, and then came my new friend that pulled up with me in a Maserati one day. I went into business with her, and she's like, come help me build this new bar I'm opening in Chinatown, and you can do all your fashion shows there, and you can plan all the grand openings and make them your party. I'll fund everything. Just bring your models, bring your designs. Like, I was given so many blessings and platforms unexpectedly just because I took the risk. So the point of my story is, and I don't even know how long this video is, I hope you guys are still here with me, and if you are, thank you for being here, and I hope that I'm gonna wrap it up in a few. I hope that this provided some sort of inspiration, in a sense of letting you know that it doesn't matter what your dream is, and it doesn't matter if you don't know what your dream is. What you have to do in life, the only thing that's ever gonna make you happy is following your heart. That's all you have to do. It's the one thing that you have to do, is step into your purpose and walk in your light. I don't know everything. I don't know many things. One thing about life that you learn is that you know nothing. And when you realize that you know nothing, you grow even more. I'll never forget, Erykah Badu told us all, the man that knows something knows that he knows nothing at all. So, but that's real, And she also said, write it down and watch that shit come to life. It's a real magic spell when you write down your goals and bring them to fruition. When I started writing down what I wanted to do in fashion and sketching my designs, I found someone that made my samples out of nowhere. I think she reached out to me on Instagram. Then I found another company that made my samples a little bit more, I grew in so many ways. I found 2 different ways to get my samples done. I found 2 different ways to get my stuff manufactured, which it took me so many, I can't tell you how many people I DM'd and emailed and reached out to. I had no idea how to find a manufacturer, no idea. And it eventually just came to me. And at the point where I was still funding everything myself, I always have, always will. I've always drained my bank account from whatever was in it to zero for my dreams, because I would much rather be at zero than to, be in a situation that is sucking my soul. That's one thing I've learned about myself over time too. Like, I always just know it's gonna come. And when you truly believe and you train your mind to know that, it does come. So I hope that if you can take anything from this, you can take that taking the risk is always worth it when you're following your heart. You have to jump off the cliff whether you feel like you're ready or not. Do it now. Don't wait until later, because time is the most important thing. Time is something we'll never get back. Money is recyclable. Energy is sometimes recyclable, but time we just can't get back, y'all. It's the most valuable currency we've ever been given. It's the biggest gift. So you need to believe that. You need to understand that, and you need to stick by it and run with that. Follow your heart always. And how will you ever know if you don't try? So, biggest love to you guys. Thank you for being here in my channel, and I can't wait for the next video. This is giving me a new purpose with YouTube, and I really, really hope that, we can continue to grow together and connect. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Wow, I sound like a real YouTuber. But really, if you feel me, you know, I'm a big person in returning the love and everything being full circle. So thank you for sharing this space with me today. If you're out there and you have a dream, the magic cannot leave you when it is you. Trust and believe. It's just the beginning, baby. Biggest love. See you next time.